the 3 words that can get your team rocking and rolling and duplicating. Finally, how pissed would you be if you followed up with somebody 4 times and on the 5th time, somebody else enrolled them? Everyone knows how draining follow-up can be, and everyone wishes, I wish that everyone that you talk to about your product, service, or business would just say yes immediately on the spot without having to think about it. The reality is that doesn't happen, no matter how good you happen to be at closing. And we all know that when you enroll somebody, that's exactly where it starts, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be superstars or rock stars right out the gate. So in this episode, I'm going to share with you 3 magic words that can change your life when it comes to following up with your prospects and following up with your new teammates. So stay tuned. Welcome to episode 112. My name is Tanya Aliza, and I help entrepreneurs and network marketers create success fast, while most importantly, designing a lifestyle that you love. So if you're new here, consider subscribing because I put out a brand new training episode and free resource for you and your business each and every week. Now, I cannot take credit at all for these 3 words. I wish that I can, but I cannot. They were used on me. This is how I learned about these 3 words. And when they were used on me, I was like, this is brilliant. So I've got to give credit where credit's due. I learned these 3 words from a good friend of mine, John Melton. A lot of you guys might know John and his lovely wife, Nadia. They are big time on social media and great, amazing friends of mine. And I work with John. And when I started working with John, he used these 3 magic words on me. And when I learned these words, I was like, this is magic. This is awesome because it gives us a good excuse to reconnect with our prospects with intent, and also a good excuse to reconnect with our teammates with intent. So here's the 3 words. They are Follow Up Friday. Yep, Follow Up Friday. It's as simple as that. So when I got started working with John, it came around Friday. He said, hey T, what's up? Follow Up Friday. Just wanted to check in, make sure that everything's cool. Let me know if you need anything. Went something like that. And I was like, this is genius, all right? Because I'm busy, you're busy, everybody's busy, right? So I was like, what a great batching strategy. So he did all of his follow-up on Friday, and not only following up with his teammates, which you definitely want to do, it was following up with prospects. So he calls it Follow Up Friday. I think he has a video on it. I'll link in the show notes if I can find the video on him discussing what his Follow Up Friday looks like. And it's brilliant. So when I started to implement Follow Up Friday into my business, here's what it looked like. So what I do is I block off the time and I set a reminder for myself on Friday, and I've got 30 or 40 minutes dedicated to Follow Up Friday. And so what am I doing in that time? I'm actually following up with my teammates and just checking in. And I'm going to give you a couple tips on following up with your teammates. Very important, by the way. And then number 2, I get to follow up with my prospects. And I actually use the terminology Follow Up Friday so that they start to get conditioned that it's like a thing that we do. So the magical thing, here's what happened. So the magical thing that happened in my business with my teammates when I started doing this was they thought Follow Up Friday was like a set in stone thing that we do in our team, which it kind of should be, but it's more like a thing that I just picked up from John. So what ended up, what ended up happening is they started following up with their people and their teammates. They were duplicating what I was doing with them. How beautiful is that? But more importantly, it gave me a reason to check in with them. But when you check in with your teammates, and then I'm going to show you how to do it with your prospects in a minute, but with your teammates, it's really important to not make them feel bad if they aren't doing something, all right? So 80% of the people that are on your team in network marketing are just gonna kind of hang out or dabble. It's just the way it goes. the 20% of your team are going to be your big time go-getters, and they're going to be, taking consistent action and really building this big. And the other 80% are just going to be, hanging around. They maybe love the product, they love the community. Maybe their goals are just to make a few $100 a month extra, whatever it might be. So you're going to have people on your team that are totally rocking it, and then people on your team that are not rocking it so much. And that's totally, totally fine. But you don't want to make anybody feel bad about not doing anything when you do your follow-up Friday. So when I do my follow-up Friday with my team, I usually just check in and tell them that they're awesome, they're amazing. I totally appreciate having them on my team. And I just wanted to check in and see if there was anything at all that I could do for them in this week coming up. I'm not going to hound them and say, what have you done this week? Or what are you going to be doing this week? I just basically love on my team. And this is something that I've learned based on being in the trenches, right? Because if you're checking in with somebody every week and every week they're not doing something because maybe life's gotten in the way or something that has maybe held them back, whatever it might be, everybody's on their own journey. If you check in like you're like, hey, what's up? What are we doing? Are we doing anything this week? They're just going to get really frustrated on themselves and they might quit. And you don't want them to quit. You want them to stay a part of the team and the community, right? So people will work harder for recognition than they will a paycheck. Just let them know that they're awesome, they're amazing, you love having them a part of the team, and just say, hey, listen, just wanted to say that you're awesome. I love having you part of the community. Let's make it an amazing week. If there's anything that you need, just let me know. So that's how I follow up with my teammates on Follow Up Friday. Now my teammates that have teammates of their own, they're going to go and do the same thing because they're going to see me doing that, which is awesome and great duplication, and what a great team environment that we all have. Thank you, John Milton, for sharing that with me. And then with my prospects, I will follow up with them and I'll use the language Follow Up Friday so that they're like, whoa, this person's, got this scheduled on their business. It's a part of how they run their business. So I'll check in with any prospect that might be on the fence or haven't connected with them yet, or maybe they told me no, not right now. And I'll just check in and I'll say, hey, it's Follow Up Friday. I just wanted to check in and see if you had a chance to watch those videos I shared with you, or if there's anything else you need to know before we get you started. So I use the language Follow Up Friday. My prospects have been loving it. My teammates have been loving it. Now in this episode, since we're talking about follow up, and I know some people just get a little bit stumped with what to say exactly when they follow up. Also, they get stumped on how often they should follow up. So this week's freebie that I've included with this episode for you, like we do every week, is going to be my follow-up guide and scripts. So you can pick that up absolutely free over on my blog at tanyaaliza.com/112 download. And I'll leave a link in the description box depending on where you're watching this video. That link will take you to my blog post with this episode. And then right underneath this video on the episode, there'll be a big yellow button. If you click the button, you'll get my follow-up guide and script so you know exactly what to say to re-spark the interest of your prospects or even your teammates so that they get into action with you. Now, I don't know if you also caught last week's episode where I shared 11 reasons or excuses that you can use to follow up with prospects. And so if you didn't catch that episode, I'm going to leave it in the show notes below in the description box so you can go back to episode 111 and you can get those 11 reasons to use as good excuses to follow back up with your prospects that haven't yet made a decision, or if now wasn't the right time for them when you presented. So we've got a ton of great resources for you when it comes to follow-up. But John Melton, just wanted to say thank you for using your Follow-Up Friday with me, because it has taught me a lot in using it with my team and making my team feel amazing, also duplicating that within my team, but also with my prospects as well, because it gives me a good reason. And they think it's just a process and part of my business, which ultimately makes me look more professional when I'm following up on a certain day and maybe on a certain time too, and saying, hey, it's Follow-Up Friday, just wanted to check in. It gives a really good excuse. It doesn't doesn't seem like I'm hounding my people. John Melton, you are amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And so I can share that also with my community and my people. So for all the resources mentioned regarding follow-up that I talked about in this episode, check the description box or the show notes that go with this episode. We will leave links for everything and help you to become a Follow-Up Friday superstar. And don't worry, I will also leave a link to our new Boss Up store where you can check out our apparel and rock out entrepreneur style. All that will be ready for you over on the blog at tanyaaliza.com/112 download. Question of the week: are you ready to implement Follow-Up Friday into your processes? If you are, type yes in the comment section below. I'd love to give you a high five and a like on that comment. Did you get some value out of today's episode? If you did, share this with your team, with your peeps via one of the share or like buttons above, below, or around this video. And I will see you on the next episode of Tanya Aliza TV. Follow-Up Friday, 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 it's Follow-Up Friday, Follow-Up Friday. Check it out, check it out. Okay, so for those of you wondering where to get your cool Boss Up t-shirts and apparel, we'll leave a link. You're gonna shop till you drop over there, baby.